Hi, welcome once more in our program, Rebuilding Family Foundation Academy. This program is part of a branch of Family Health, Life Skills, and Career Development, which comes to you each and every week with one purpose and one intention. How can we add value, knowledge to ourselves? As we have been learning several things as far as our family is concerned and about safety within our family, one of our great presenters by the name Mary Celeste Bolo came up and taught us some great things about choking, how to avoid choking, and what you need to do in case someone in your house get choked. Join us right now and learn about choking and what we ought to do in case choking has taken place. Karibu sana.
One of the things that can be a health safety issue, apart from hands that transmit bacteria, is choking. We normally get a lot of cases of either adults or children who have choked. And majorly, you find choking occurs when somebody is eating. So we need to know how safe are we? What do you need to do? Now, number one thing that somebody needs to be cognizant about is that during eating time or feeding time for a child, there has to be a quiet environment. I know the African way, we talk a lot during eating time, and sometimes when you eat food like rice, it has got small pellets, can easily get into the airway. As much as the anatomy of eating food, whenever your esophagus opens and food gets in your airway, you stop breathing for a moment. However, there have been cases where you're talking and you're also breathing at the same time, as in you are talking and eating at the same time. At that time, in that spur of the moment, food can get into the airway and you can get choked. So what do we tell as healthcare providers? How can you be safe in the domestic area? Number one, when eating time should be really eating time. You only talk when you have swallowed the food. How food is prepared also affects. And we always say this. I know we are not Kenyans are lovers of nyama choma and all. Food should be cut into small sizes. I know it looks mean. It looks like your mchoyo in quotes when you have very small chunks, slim pieces of meat cut slenderly. But that is the ideal recommended way. Don't have large chunks of meat or food. Make sure they are chopped in small pieces and well cooked so that they are soft, so that somebody doesn't have to struggle with swallowing. Another thing, make sure that the temperature of the food, the environment that you're eating in is very safe. So it's very important that we observe that during eating time and how we make the food at the same time so that in the end, you do not get choked at the same time. It's very important for us to have telephone numbers of ambulances. You need at least in your phone contact, you should have an ambulance that you can easily call so that in case of an emergency at home, you can call in, they can respond and take you to the nearest hospital. Because some kind of choking, if it's not relieved at a very fast rate, it can lead to death. You know, let's say if somebody stays without breathing for more than 3 to 5 minutes, then it can now cause serious consequences. So by the time they are arriving in the hospital, they are very sick, you cannot be able to salvage. And they end up to respiratory arrest that at times can lead to death or can lead to further damage and cause other multiple organ failure, which can be costly at the same time, can cost financial in terms of your quality of life in the end. So very important.
Some is easy to address, some it's a bit difficult. But in case a child has just choked, an elderly person has choked, or one of the children, what do you need to do to salvage that situation? Let's listen more and learn from Mary Celeste about what you need to do to avoid the same situation and circumstance.
So when choking, what do you need to do? Number one, we have got different stages, or rather, signs and symptoms that you know somebody is choking. If somebody is choking and they're coughing, just know they're safe. So long as they're coughing, if they were choking, they were just eating food together or they swallowed something, but they're coughing, that's a very safe zone. You shouldn't be so worried. You should just stay there, be with that person and assist wherever you can, depending on what they tell you. But there's another stage whereby the person cannot cough. They're holding, there's a universal choking sign. They hold their necks like this. And at that time, some will make a very shrill sound. Some will not hear anything. They just hold their necks. If you are there, ask them, are you choking? Because there have been cases whereby somebody was just holding their neck and rubbing it, and they're quiet. So it could be they're just quiet, there's nothing, but ask them. If you see somebody holding their neck like this, ask them, are you choking? If they nod and say they're choking, you need to take action as soon as possible. Now we have scientifically proven maneuvers that help. Now on simple layman's language, one of the maneuvers that we use, you go behind the person's back and take your hand around them. Make a fist between the belly button and where the diaphragm and where the symphysis, for a better English word, where the ribs end, there is a point at where the ribs end and the belly button. Put your hand and make a thrush, upward thrush. You're exerting pressure on the diaphragm so that anything that is in the airway can be pushed and can come out. So that is one of the way. We call it helmet maneuver. For a small child, you cannot do helmet maneuver. You need to go behind the back and pat, do thrusts using this part of your finger. Very hard thrust. Do like that. Do it 5 times. And if it is something that will easily come up, because it also depends on what they're choking on. I had earlier say that if foods are made in large chunks that you give to a child, or even add as very large pieces of meat, if it's an object that is occluding or blocking the airway, and you give a thrust behind the back, it can easily come out. But there are times whereby, one, they're not coughing, they're not responding, they're putting their hand on the neck, and they've told you they're choking. You have tried doing the thrust, nothing is happening, they're just looking at you. You've tried hitting their backs to see where it comes out, nothing is happening. At that point, just know things are not doing very well. Some patients become even more unresponsive and they become frail and weak. Put them on the floor and now you start chest compressions. Meanwhile, when somebody is in that state, you don't need to handle that person alone. You need to shout for help. Come on, somebody help. Call the Jiranis, the neighborhood. If you're in the street, say someone help. People can easily come in and call the ambulance. And at that point, that is where I say that it is important that you have at least one number for an ambulance. A medic who is around the neighborhood. That is why we always say, wherever the neighborhood you are in, you need to know people who are around there. Who are the medics there? Who are the people who can help in safety issues and all? And somebody who is well trained. So basic life support can assist at that time. They can do chest compressions as you wait for an ambulance to take that person. So we've had cases whereby simple thrust does not work, the patient is unconscious, unresponsive, and they have to be brought to the hospital whereby it has to be removed, whatever it is that was choking the patient. Common things that choke us apart from meat, we have also fish bones. We have people talking and eating at the same time. Fish is very dangerous. It can easily cause choke, and with that one you cannot, even if you do thrust, sometimes the spikes have already held part of your mucosa or they've held part of the throat. So whatever you do, it will not come out. So it will just be stuck there. So always observe whoever has told you they're choking, but so long as they're coughing, they are safe. And I always say this, feeding time should be a very sacred time. Eating time, it should be sacred. Why? It should be a time where you chew food slowly. Most people are in a hurry to eat very fast. You don't chew food that's supposed to be chewed so that it can be digested. And as you eat in a hurry, then choking becomes very apparent. You're more probable, likely to choke faster if you're eating food in a hurry, if you're eating and you're talking. So be safe. Always chew food slowly. Eat food that has been cooked properly. Cut food into smaller slices, even meat. If somebody is choking, go behind them if they are an adult, or if they are of an age where you can go behind them. Do a thrust on the abdomen between the belly button and the end of the ribs. If it's not working, they are still not responding, you have been trying, that person, you should not handle yourself alone, call for help. And I think Kenyans are very good in responding. Just shout somebody help. Have a phone number of an ambulance, have neighbors whom you know can assist, then the patient should be rushed to the nearest hospital. Because again, when airway is compromised, you get respiratory distress. And at that time, there has to be a surgical intervention.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebuilding Family Foundation. Not only that, if you need to get more information about this subject matter, on our YouTube channel, your whole episode about safety. Join, like, subscribe, and learn. And much more than that, forward the same to your friends that each and every home may enjoy safety. God bless you. Good day, good night, good evening from Rebuilding Family Foundation.